Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question, Donnie. What do you do with your money?
I do a couple of things.
Like when you make money, is there like a thing that you do?
Is there a thing?
Like a specific formula?
Yeah. So when I make money, and I have my formula because I have to look at this every single month, but I'll tell you exactly what I do. Yep, because I never remember it. First of all, 15% I pay myself. So I do know that part. On the 1st and the 15th.
So do your income change every month or every week almost? Like if you get paid every day.
I pay myself on the 1st and 15th.
So from the 1st to 15th, whatever you make, you take 15% of that. Mm-hmm. You pay yourself gross?
I pay myself off revenue.
Oh, gross? Okay.
Yep. So I follow the profit first model. And I think it's one of the easiest and most responsible models to follow financially. So when we're talking about number one, what do I do with my money once I make it? The first thing that I do is allocate it appropriately. So I have several bank accounts, and all of my money goes into my main income account. So from that main income account, then I start to divvy up the funds. So 20% of all of my deposits that I get from Stripe or the podcast or whatever we're getting, 20% of that goes into what's called my profit account, right? That's usually the money where I can make some decisions. We can decide on some purchases or some investments.
So that's personal. You're talking about 20% of the 15%.
Nope. So we're talking about 100% of the money.
Yes.
All of the money goes into a revenue account, right? In the main income account.
Yeah.
20% of that goes into a profit account, which is a savings account. Okay. So I take 20%. Okay. So we got 80% left.
Okay.
The next is my tax account. 15% of my gross income goes into my tax account.
Got it.
Okay. Which is also a savings account. Then I have my operating account, which is 50%. 50% of everything that comes in goes into my operating account. That is the account that I use to pay all of the expenses for the business. I don't care if somebody did a flyer or if it's payroll or system, all of that goes there. And then I pay myself 15%, which goes into my personal account.
I see. So that the 20% profit account, that when you say you could do some things in terms of investing.
Yep. So now when we're having conversations like, let's buy these businesses, investing in the hedge fund, I check my profit account because that's extra money. So like the money that we invested into the hedge fund, that came from my profit account. We're about to purchase a business together. Whatever we don't have in our account, any extra of my contribution is coming from my profit account.
I see. Okay. And me and Donnie, we have an account where we do like joint things and we make money together. And so
it's lit too. It's lit.
It's up. It's really, really cool, man, to watch it grow. And y'all need to start making some money with your friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we haven't like spent it. It's like we do some things together and it just goes into that account. I don't even know how. I mean, I know kind of
6 figures.
How much, but like we don't even touch it. And we have like some flexibility to do some things. And it's like an extra thing. So I think if y'all have some friends or business partners and y'all just create a little stream of income together that just goes into the account that y'all can flip. So right now we interview Snoop and we're looking at salon suites.
Mm-hmm. What I would say is, and I know this for a fact because I study finance, I study the economy. Recessions are the time for people to make the most money if you position yourself. So here's a concept I want everybody to try to adopt. We've always been taught to have an emergency fund, right? The term emergency puts you in a scarcity mindset off the cuff. It's an emergency fund, right? And I'm not saying anybody shouldn't have an emergency fund. You want to have your bases covered. But what about having an opportunity fund?
I like that. You're talking good.
Right? So now you have money set aside to take advantage of an opportunity if it persists, right? One of the things I love about hanging with Dion, hanging around him, I stumble upon money. Like from a funding standpoint, 20,000 this bank, 50,000. I'm just stacking my funding ability so that if a recession does happen, I have an opportunity fund and I'm able to take advantage of something versus being a victim of something.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So it's not like you're closing your eyes saying it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. You're saying it's not going to kill me. Come on. I'm ready for you.
I'm ready for you. And I think we should be training. Like like right now, if it is a recession, you should be doing everything you can to get information, to get knowledge, to get access to funds, so that if it does happen, you can take advantage of it, not become a victim of it. So one of the reason we're getting together, and we'll talk about it more later, but we're giving people opportunity to tap in with us.
I might talk about it now.
Talk about it now?
Yeah, talk about it.
Okay, cool. So we're doing a challenge called Get the Bag, Keep the Bag Challenge, right? It's gonna be in January, and we're gonna teach people how to fix their credit, get as much funding as they possibly can. And I'm gonna teach how to use that funding within their business to take advantage of opportunities, not just take advantage of opportunities, but take advantage of opportunities that also make them more money and help them save on taxes, right? Because if we do have a recession approaching, I want you to have that opportunity fund ready, so you could be like, yo, that recession was the biggest opportunity that took me and my family from generational poverty to generational wealth.
I love it. All right. Wrapping back around to my first question. Harder to make money or harder to keep it, right? But we just talked, but I think you need to understand both, right? They're both not like easy, simple maybe, like it's like 1, 2, 3 step, but not easy necessarily. So we talked about kind of like the 5 things that it's going to take to make a bunch of money. So I think in respect, we kind of got to talk about 5 things to help you keep it. So I'll let you start with 1.
Okay. I'll knock the easiest one. One of the easiest ways.
You might as well just give us 3, because this is this is bad, yo. Yeah, just give us all. Just give us 3, okay?
Okay, I give 1, you give 1, he gives 3.
For sure. How about you just give 5 and then we'll just help him out.
Get some bonuses.
Yeah, we got bonuses. Go for it. What are the top 5 pieces of advice you would give someone to help them save all this money they're gonna make?
Okay, well, taxes is everybody's number 1 expense. The average person pays 51% of their lifetime income in taxes. That's the equivalent of working for 12 months, but the first 6 months are for free.
Dang.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And
I hate that you put it like that. Golly.
I had to set the stage, right? Like if you've given 51% of your money away, you work in 6 months for free. So let me help you not do that, right? So one of the easiest ways to keep the money is to avoid paying taxes. One of the best ways to do that is to learn tax strategies that you can implement throughout the year to keep the money, right? So one of the
I'm sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Avoid paying taxes or lower your liability?
So tax evasion is illegal. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax avoidance is finding legal ways to avoid paying taxes.
Okay.
Tax evasion is finding illegal ways to avoid paying taxes.
Hold on, whoa. You said, hold on. Tax evasion is
illegally doing things that evade your tax bill.
Gotcha.
Tax avoidance is using the tax code, leveraging it the right way, because all the tax code is a series of incentives for us to follow. Tax avoidance is using the tax code to find legal ways to avoid paying taxes.
Okay.
Right.
I'm with that.
One of the best ways to do that is to leverage business credit to take advantage of buying equipment like cars or buildings, which give you this thing called depreciation. So I just bought a Lamborghini Urus, and this is good. So I bought a Lamborghini Urus using none of my money. The down payment was $50,000. I used my Amex card for the down payment.
You can put a down payment on a credit card?
Yeah.
Sure can. I did with my Discover.
Yep.
Word?
Yep.
Yeah. So now I'm using other people's money to put a down payment on a Urus. I'm getting points back for using that money, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, because of the IRS rule, I'm able to write off 100% of the cost of the Urus the year that I purchased it. So even though I only put $50,000 down, the car cost $250,000. I get a $250,000 tax deduction this year for financing a car, not using any of my money. So now if I'm in the 50% tax rate, if I'm saving $250,000, I'm saving $125,000 in taxes, like dollar for dollar. I have $125,000 tax savings. Now, of that $125,000, I'm gonna take 50 of that savings that I was gonna pay the IRS to pay my credit card back that I used for down payment.
Gotcha.
Now I just created $75,000 out of thin air by using other people's money to keep the bag.
Got it. Okay, so first way of keeping the money is understanding how to avoid taxes or as much as you can.
As much as you can.
In tax. What's number 2?
Number 2, one of the easiest, the best things I've ever done to keep my money is this model called Profit First, where I allocate a percentage of all the money I make to separate accounts. So if I 40% of my money is reinvested into my business, right? Operating expenses. 10% of my money is going towards savings, 20% taxes. If you give your money a name or a title, you know where your money's going. If you don't give your money a name or a title, your money's gonna go where it decides to go. So I think that business owners need to, or anybody needs to allocate their money by a percentage basis. So that way, it don't matter if you make 10,000 or 10 million. A certain percentage is allocated to all the goals for you.
Let me ask you: is that money? Does it like okay? So say somebody buys something from you for $100.
Yep.
The $100 goes in one bank account and then you pull 40 out and put it in somewhere else? Or do you have some sort of automated situation?
So I'll do it once a month. At the first of the month, I'll move all the money to the separate accounts, right? You can do it once a week. I don't know of an automated system that'll move it for you, but
that should exist.
It should exist. Hey, that might be an idea, bro.
Yeah.
Hey man, ask your developer. See if that would be ill if through your Stripe or whatever, or however your payment processor is, it comes in, but it splits it out into different accounts.
That would be good.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's the idea. All right,
really
somebody
good.
else go.
When I worked the job, it used to be like that. I used to have it go into all my different accounts. So that way I didn't have to try to move money around. So whenever I got paid, it was boop, boop. It was percentages, boop, boop. But now I have it where, because I got similar accounts like him set up, the savings accounts and all the retirement accounts. And I just have it where they just automatically, it's like an auto pay. It just comes out of my account going into those accounts. Yeah.
So I mean, my personal checking does send money to my savings. And like it's like an automatic, just kind of like draft or whatever. But I wish it was like percentage based somehow.
So I have a young lady who she handles all like my mutual funds, my brokerage accounts, my annuities and all of that. And it's just set up with American funds and all that. They just auto deduct like it's a bill. Like it just comes right out of the business account, boom, go straight into whatever account it need to go into.
That's a good gem right there. Pay yourself like you pay your bills.
Yes.
Don't miss a payment.
Yeah.
I've been missing mad payments.
Yeah, if we paid our savings accounts like we paid our bills, we'll all keep the money, keep more of our money, right? So I think that we need to pay ourselves like we pay bills and pay ourselves first, and don't miss a payment. That can be like another way to keep more of your money by paying yourself first, paying yourself like a bill, and you'll be good to go.
That was a strong 3. Yeah. My one, and I got this from George, and it was oh my gosh, I actually looked this morning and it was disgusting. George said the number one way that kills people's wealth is food. If you think about how much you spend on food, bro, I was looking at and this is like one account. So I have a couple of business accounts. I got personal or whatever, but my business expenses, which I guess I'm not super mad because you need to write it off, but it's still a nasty number. It was like $43,000 I spent in 11 months on meals and entertainment. Dang. And that's all meals because I don't do entertainment like that.
So that's why you say in December you're not going no more restaurants?
I'm not. No, that's why I made that announcement, bro. I'm not. If we go out to, because I'll just, like if we all went out to eat, and my peoples, we just did the podcast, I'm gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
All right. Me and Reese go hang out, me and the team, I just pay for it. It's just what I do. Not this month, bro. That joint was crazy. But think about this. If you had $40,000, right? And I gave you a challenge, how much could you turn 40,000 to in 6 months or a year?
A lot, yeah.
How much? Give me a number. Just if you had 40,000 that you had to flip a bunch of times for the year, how much would you turn into?
At least 250,000.
At least a quarter.
I was gonna say about 210.
Yeah.
Bro,
I think about 7 times.
I ate $250,000.
That's how you looking at it. Wow.
I just ate it, bro.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
It's like I put $250,000 on the table, got a knife and some butter and some ranch dressing, and just started eating my. It's crazy. $40,000, bro. I could have made another 250. The question is, that 250, what would I do with that next year? I ate millions.
That's good.
So,
that's good.
Thank you. I hate that I had to learn the lesson to have this understanding. But so food, bro. Stop eating out so much. Stop going on dates. Try to get them to come to the crib and cook.
I'm supposed to be trying to get married, bro. You telling me not to go on dates, man. That's crazy.
Those were my single moves back in the day, okay? We're just going to come through and cook. So that would be my how to keep your money. And not even just food, just frivolous spending.
Yeah.
And I know, Carter, you like to have a drink every now and again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, but Carter said, when we go out, I'm getting a drink. He said, everywhere I go, I'm going to get a drink. But some people they don't have the financial maturity to not. You make the money, so you do what you want, right? But there's some people, you too broke to drink. You too broke to be smoking. What's up with you?
That's crazy.
So that'll be mine. How do you keep the money? Give me one.
I would say, just like anything else, if we want to be successful, we get us a coach. Why not get a money coach?
Ooh.
Why not get somebody who can help manage the bag?
That's good. That's good.
That's probably what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna hire George, my homie, to just manage. Because if you have two people look at your finances, it's gonna check
4
you.
hours are better than one.
Yeah.
Like for me to have a young lady who set up my accounts, she was able to tell me, because this not what I do. This is what she do. So she like, yo, when you turn 60, you're gonna have 1 point over here, you're gonna have 3 over. I was like, yeah, that's cool. You can keep taking whatever you need to take and keep saving it. So that way, when I turn 60, when I just need some extra money, I got some extra money there. Like, I don't plan on going broke, but it's good to know that somebody is helping you plan and save for not only just your future, but for my baby's future too. I got 3 kids. I can't just be worried about me, So it's a different game we playing right now.
I love that. Yeah, I was actually, I get all the Game Room Morning meetup, but there was, I have an Acorns account. You got Acorns?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love Acorns. My Acorns pays for my travels. Yeah.
Bro, I looked at it. This is my first time looking at it in a minute. From 2019, I looked at it today, and there's $17,000 in that joint.
Wow.
If somebody took $10 out of your account today, you're not going to notice it.
Nope.
Tomorrow, you're not going to notice it, right? I didn't even I don't know when at one point I had like I had $5 going out of my account, going to Acorns every day. Just $5, because I knew I wouldn't miss it. You know what I mean? And then it went into $10 every day. So it's nothing like super crazy. And then when I swipe my card, it rounds up to the nearest dollar. Yeah. So just having $10 out of my account going every day, which, by the way, since 2019, I forgot about. And it took me a while to log in. I'm like, dang, I don't know the password because I ain't been in it. I looked today and it shocked me, bro. It said $17,000 in that account.
Yeah.
Set my Acorns back up on.
Yo, set it up, bro.
I only had on 5. I to set the roundups back up. Yeah.
$10 out of your account every day. $20. I think I want to step it up to 20. Really?
Let me download this app too. Hold
on. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
okay, I got an affiliate link. I think. I think I have Acorns affiliate link. So everybody, calm down. Okay. Yes. Okay. So that was 5. That was 5. So we taught them how to make money and how to keep it.
Yeah.
The 2 most important things for an entrepreneur.
All right.
I think it's cool that we're like even having this conversation, because I think it's gonna be really, really hard to grow a big business if you can't be a good steward over your money. And being prepared for opportunities. I don't save, me personally, I don't save money just to have it saved, just to see it. I save money to prepare to invest it in something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go broke. I'll go broke investing in stuff. Yeah. Right. So my strategy now is I just want to take this kind of like, whether it's digital money or whatever, because I don't know how long y'all gonna be watching the podcast, or how long I can teach, or how long y'all gonna like me. I don't know. But you hear these like stories of people who are like super successful, and I'm still trying to figure out how they lose it all.
Yeah, I know one way.
How?
So I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were asking me about what I thought about them purchasing this new business. And they'd already done it. They wanted my thoughts after the fact. And I'm walking them through the deal, walk me through the deal. And they had to put down this big deposit on this building. And I'm like, well, how'd you make the deposit? Oh, I just gave them cash. You mean from your bank account? Yeah. And I said, how much money do you have in the bank? Well, I got $600,000 in the bank. Okay, that's fair. But why? What made you make the decision to leverage your own cash? Like, how many times do we have to tell you that there is a such thing as good debt, right? And instead of putting your money down, let's just say it's $100,000 down payment on this property that you now have to renovate, why wouldn't you get funding for that? Pay the funding back over time, right? Just for a short period of time. Let's say take out a $100,000 loan instead, pay it back, do your process. Maybe you make payments over time, let's say $3,000-$4,000 a month for X amount of months. That's a much better position to be in while you're getting the building prepared to start generating cash flow. And then from the cash flow of another asset, you pay off the loan. Meanwhile, you have your $100,000 in the bank. So if things go awry and this business doesn't go the way that you anticipated it going, you didn't use any of your own money. That $100,000 on a bad business is lost forever. But in funding, you still have access to this money now to use and to try to come up with another idea, invest in something else different, right? So that you still have your money. People are going broke because number one, they're leveraging too much of their own cash for growth.
All right, so I'm about to go. Yeah, wait, can we get him a seat? You want to sit there? Like, you sure? I'm gonna see real quick. We're gonna get you a seat. Well, I wasn't gonna talk about it, but I kind of went against what you just said.
And you always do.
So, dang, I don't know if I want to talk about it. Anyway, all right, we're here now. So yesterday, I paid off this whole building.
I love it.
Yesterday. But I'm almost I don't want to have too much money liquid, because the only thing that money can do is like go away. It doesn't just sit in an account and kind of flip itself. So I'll give y'all the whole. All right, I am talking about business. Okay, so I bought this building at I did it owner financing, which what it looks like is I have my taxes are filed now. Okay, but at the time I ain't filed my taxes in a couple of years. So judging me? Oh, okay. I thought I was a gesture of judgment. All right. So, so for a little while. And I'm like, well, I want to buy something, but the bank isn't going to give you any money if you don't have any tax returns, right? So I'm looking, somebody informs me about owner financing. I'm like, oh, what's that? Well, they said the person who owns the property, they'll be the bank for you. Mm-hmm. So meaning you just pay them. And typically a term is going to be something like interest only for a certain amount of years and a balloon payment. So the way this building works is the guy, I saw, it was so crazy. Did I manifest this?
Let's talk about it. Let's see.
So I'm looking into this owner financing, and I'm on loop that I'm looking at like these buildings, and I'm like, hey, do y'all do owner financing, seller financing? And some people say no, some people didn't know what I was talking about, but I'm driving by and I see a sign in the door that said owner financing. I said, oh, this is perfect, right around the corner from our other studio. So I called a guy and I said, what do you want? He said, this is the amount. These are the terms. Terms are 10%. He wanted like 30% down. Mm-hmm. Interest only for 5 years with a balloon payment. What that looks like is, let's say, for instance, the building's $100,000. He wants $30,000 down. Mm-hmm. The other $70,000, he'll hold that note for 5 years, but I'm paying only interest for 5 years. And then at the end of 5 years, I pay the $70,000, mm-hmm. which is an amazing model, which
for him,
I want to buy. Yeah, but I'm looking at it for me. I'm like, yo, so you mean to tell me if I own a building outright, what I can do is I can take a certain amount of money down and you pay me interest only for a certain amount of years. Most of the time, I think it was something like 70% of these deals or something like that, the person never pays off the loan. So this is what could happen. Let's say this, it wasn't 100,000. I wish it was. But let's say, for instance, the building's 100,000. He wants 30,000 down up front. And then interest only is, let's say, I don't know, $1,000 a month for 5 years. I can give him the 30,000. I can give him $1,000 a month for like 4 years. And if I default on the loan, he takes the building back. Mm-hmm. He still owns it, but I paid him 30,000 plus 1,000 a month for 5 years. Mm-hmm. Most of the times, the person never fulfills that obligation.
Now, here's why you didn't not do what I suggested. Mm. So, if you had you've had this building for how long?
Since October. He closed October 2020.
All right, so we're 2 years into the building. If you had found the building and paid cash for it right away, mm-hmm. you would have been doing what I'm not suggesting.
Yeah.
But you financed the building first. You leveraged other people's money, technically, and you made payments on it until you created another asset that'll put you in a position to then pay it off.
100%.
Right.
And I'm like so invested in the spot.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm paying him like, it was like $2,800 a month, interest only.
Mm-hmm.
So I paid this man $2,800
For 2 years.
For 2 years, every month, that didn't even touch the principal.
Yeah. But that's the thing that I don't want you guys to miss. We're talking about how do people go broke.
Yeah.
They keep dumping their own cash into liabilities without creating new assets via leveraging other people's money. And then the other thing that you kind of touched on it, the other reason that we go broke is because money depreciates. Your money does not appreciate. Mm-hmm. And so if you feel like, I remember my first time having $100,000 in the bank, I'm like, we just gonna leave that thing right there. Like, I'm literally on the phone with my mom every day counting it down. Like, we made 15 today. Oh, we only made 4 today. We did this. When it got to $100,000, like I took me, my mom, my daughter out to eat. I'm crying. I have tears. And I was so proud of this $100,000 sitting in the bank. Then I remember it being time to pay bills. And then, I paid for 3 households. And so when I went to pay these bills, it went down to like $80-something thousand in the bank. And I'm like, this doesn't last very long, right? So it was an indication to me that 1, we got to make money faster. But 2, I have to find a way to multiply the money that we have already. So once I got into a situation where I felt comfortable with having a reserve of living expenses, that's all you need. 12 months of your living expenses, your business operating expenses at most right now at the stage that we're in is what you need in the bank, right? Invest everything else. So since then, I have invested into things. And for example, taking that same $100,000, investing it in within 3-4 months, more than doubling that investment, it will never happen in the bank. Your bank loses money. Your money loses value in the bank. You're paying bills from that same account. Like, you can't keep taking away. If you put yourself in a position where you constantly have to be making money in order to, like, physically doing something to make money in order to have money, you're going to go broke. One day you're not going to be physically able or have the desire to do it. You've got to figure out how to diversify your portfolio financially on auto drive.
100%.
And that's going to be through leveraging other people to build wealth for you. So then that's where investing in hedge funds come in. If you are skilled, investing in the stock markets, investing in real estate. And I'm talking about like multifamily, like single family homes and things. That's great. That's a start. But getting some multifamily assets. So now you have many families contributing to that asset. 2 things are happening. You're making revenue and cash flow every single month, but you're also buying down or paying down your liability on this asset, this building now that you own. And then one day you flip that building into another asset and buy another asset. Like, it's a constant cycle of leveraging other people's money. And if you don't get that part right, we will go broke. I don't care how many millions you have. We see it all the time. And pay your taxes. Pay your freaking taxes, because they're going to take it.
For sure. Yeah, I learned another lesson from this too. Because like Donnie said, like, you don't want to like use your own cash. You want to leverage other cash, and you have like this good debt. And I'm talking to all these people, even real estate professionals, and they're like, yo, don't put that much money into the building. You could use that money and put it somewhere else. And I get it, but I couldn't just take the advice, because the advice didn't consider my own personal goals. And I think we hear stuff on social media, and it's a blanket statement. So on the surface, for the purpose of this podcast, yes, don't dump all your money into some investment, because you can probably, or dump all your money into a building, because you can take that money and make more money. So at this building, the interest only was 7%, right? So I'm paying 7%. And I'm telling my friend, I'm like, yo, I think I should pay it off, because I don't want to pay this $2,800 a month anymore. He said, well, if you take the money that you have right now, you can make more than $2,800 with it, right? I said, yeah, I can. You're right. So I'll just keep paying the $2,800. But I have different goals and a different vision for myself. I want like my hard costs outside of like employees and stuff like that. But like my next thing is I want to pay off the house. And I don't have to have any debt at all.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind, I have to make $2,800 from this building every single month so that I break even. But if I can not have that on my brain, maybe it takes a little bit of stress off of me in my life. So like now I got this whole vision where I don't owe anything. And maybe like other investments, obviously I'll have some debt. And then I started to consider this. If I own this building outright, I can always refinance with the bank and it'll give me 80% of the value. So really the money is just sitting there almost in like a savings account, better than the bank. But in this scenario, I feel like I'm making an extra $2,800 because I don't have to pay it anymore because I just put the money into the building. But if I need the money to go invest in something else, I can refinance, take 80% out, take that money, put it into something else.
Sure.
So I'm like, I think we all have to have our own plan because everybody's plan isn't for you. It's not going to be based on your goals.
That is true. And while that is true, there are just some really dumb financial decisions.
That's a fact.
And if you had purchased this building outright cash,
100%.
I would have said, that's dumb.
Yeah.
We look at things like we see it on Instagram and it's like, oh, I just bought a house cash. And I'm looking like, what an idiot. Right? Like, why would you do that? Oh, I just bought this car cash. Why? Man. You literally just lost money. As soon as you sign that paper, before you even drive off the lot, you literally just lost money unless you're purchasing like an exotic that appreciates over time, right? Or at least holds its value. Some decisions are just plain stupid. And I don't want people to miss, while you're talking about injecting all this cash into this asset, I don't want people to miss the fact that before you did that, you leveraged somebody else,
100%.
right? And you created another asset. Yep. And that is so important because here's the thing, like for the average person, if you save up all this money, let's say you manage to save $100,000 and you know, we know you can't get much for $100,000 in terms of real estate these days, but let's just say for easy math, you saved up $100,000 and you're like, oh, I'm going to go and buy my dream home and I'm going to pay $100,000 cash because I want all my hard costs eliminated. I don't want any debt, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, fast forward a couple of years, a pandemic happens again. You've got your home, right? You lose your job. You don't have access to any money because you spent all of your money on this home. Now you need other people's money, okay? Now you want a $100,000 loan to smooth you out through this pandemic. Well, guess what the bank is going to say? Well, Mr. Sir, we don't see any evidence that you've been able to pay back a $100,000 loan on your credit. Unfortunately, even though you have all these assets and you pay your bills on time, there's no evidence that say you're going to pay us back. You don't have anything on your credit. You have to leverage these things also to build credit because credit is still the name of the game. Funding is still the name of the game. And while paying cash for something may feel good, it does nothing for you from a strategic perspective. You need to purchase that same house. Take that same $100,000 that you were going to invest in it and put it in a savings account if that makes you feel better, or invest it into a hedge fund and you take the profits that you're earning from it every single month to pay your mortgage while that $100,000 is still earning compound interest for you. Yeah. That strategy 100%. That makes you rich forever. And as long as you can access other people's money over and over and over and over again, you'll never go broke.
100%. Absolutely. And it's going to be based on your goals for your life. And if you want to accelerate your income, you have to keep leveraging money.
Yeah.
But some people, their goal is to not have to go make money. Like imagine your house and let's say you're working really, really hard to pay it off, and your car, you don't have a note, and you got some sort of savings, and you don't have to go out there and hustle, and that's the lifestyle you want. I don't want to make $100 million. I don't want to make $50 million. I want to have to be responsible for eating every month with my family. And that's your goal, right? So I think if we don't have a goal, then we're just going to start taking everybody's advice. And I'm in a different scenario where when I have some money, for some reason, I chill a little bit.
Tell me more. You chill.
If I like, say I do a project with somebody and we make a bunch of money. I don't be super excited. Yo, let's go do it again. We got to keep grinding. I'm like, man, Dre, where you want to go? You want to hang out? Where you want to go? You want to go to LA? Let's go kick it.
Like little 2-week break.
But if I invest money and that account get low, I get hungry. I get hungry. I be trying to figure it out. My team meetings be intense. Listen, y'all know when I done took some money, because the last few, I be giving money to Terica for like real estate. So if I'm getting more frustrated, I'm like, tight, y'all feel that energy. The account is getting low.
Your account is getting low.
So when it's up, for me, this is just, and I actually got it from Grant Cardone. Grant said, yo, I get a bunch of money, I immediately deploy it into real estate because I need to see the account get low because that drives me to go make more money. Right now, I think we all have the energy, the ideas, the vision. We got the network. We all getting it. We got the energy to go do that. But I know forever, it won't happen like that forever.
Yep.
So my philosophy now is whatever money I make, I want to put it into something that pays me a little bit. So that like later, the passive income, like let's say like real estate, I want to get a whole bunch of real estate rental income and all that kind of stuff where it's not like you're going to make $20,000 here, $30,000. You might make $1,000 a month from the property. But if you got like 50 of them joints over time where you're taking this digital money that you're making or performance money or your speaker, you take some of the money, you're putting it into something that is going to appreciate but pay you like consistent money because people are always going to need somewhere to live.
Yep.
Eventually, I don't want to have to go make money. Whether y'all watch this podcast or not, I don't care. Because me and my wife, we still gonna have a good life. We gonna kick it. Whether y'all come to an event that I'm doing or buy a product or service, I ain't gotta sell that many to live a good life because the passive income outweighs the active income. And that is the ultimate goal. And I think that's why people invest in like startups and businesses, because if I invest enough along the journey while we hot, while we got the energy to go grind, eventually we won't have to do it anymore.
Yep.
So on the panel, I discussed a concept that I never forgot about it, but I haven't talked about it in a while.
Okay.
And it's from the book, I believe, Richest Man in Babylon. The concept of how to make money from wherever you are. And I think we should teach this. So here we go. And I'll lay the foundation, then we'll talk about it together, both parts. Ready?
How to make money from wherever you are.
So the concept in the book, and it literally changed my life because I read it while I was working at the Cheesecake Factory and I said, oh, I get it. And this is what started me on the journey. The book said, we have to take some of our income and turn it into what? You don't know?
I'm typing. I was getting my notes ready.
That's crazy. Well, I'll put you on the book.
We have to take some of our income.
All right, let me see if you read the book, okay? We take some of our income and we have to turn it into capital. We take a part of our capital, or we take our capital and turn it into what?
Assets.
No, enterprise.
Enterprise, okay.
We take the enterprise,
which is an asset. Go ahead.
The objective is to turn it into a profit. And we take the profit and turn it into investment. Wealth strategy right there. We'll walk through it. So we have to take some of our income and turn it into capital. If we have a job where we're making $1,000 a week, $500 a week, that is income. The moment where you take that $1,000 and you say, okay, 10%, I'm going to put it into a jar and we're going to label it capital. That $100 out of the $1,000 from your income is now capital. Over a 10-week period, that jar is going to grow to $1,000. That $1,000 you can buy a camera with that's going to make you money, or that $1,000 you can buy apparel to sell or whatever. So you have to take part of your income and turn it into capital. So did you have any formula of turning your income into capital?
Do I now?
No, did you? I'm talking about like while you were working a job, taking some of the income.
Oh, for sure.
And targeting it as capital.
Yeah. So when I was working and I had my clothing store, I'd take this is after I'd lost everything and I was working really off of my $11 an hour, something like that income. I was living with my mom at this time, and I wrote out a list of everything that we needed to start the clothing store. And whatever I had left from my paycheck, my income, I would look, if it's $50, what on this list can I get with that $50? And so we'd order like, clothes, wholesale, things like that. And we turn those things into the money that we need. So we put that money aside until we're able to buy what we needed for our store. And then once we bought those things that we needed for our store, we then turn those into a profit.
For sure. So most people, you want to be an investor or you want to start something, but it's almost like, say there's a camera, a good camera, what, $2,000 with a lens, $1,000, let's just say. If you make $4,000 a month, where are you going to get $3,000 to buy a camera?
Bit by bit.
Piece by piece.
Piece by piece.
But because all of the money goes into one account, your income is your income. But as soon as you create some sort of separation, your income becomes now capital. This is like your capital investment, right? So the first thing you have to deploy is figuring out a way to create separation. I don't care if it's a 20%, 30%, 10%. That's what I did. When I came home, and it was easier for me. Maybe it was easier. It was easier for me because I'll come home with tips from the Cheesecake Factory. I have $200, right? Why the camera moving like that? Very straight. It's that one, actually. But let's say I make $200 from my tips for the day. I'll take 10% and put it into like this little envelope. Well, out of $200, it's just $20. I'll take another 10% and I'll put it in an envelope for tithe. I'll put another envelope, 10% into savings. So now I got these 3 envelopes. Out of the $200, I'm now missing $60. But I'm living or working off $140. What's interesting is once I started making this separation, it didn't seem like I was losing anything. I was talking to a guy earlier today and he said, yo, I am really bad he said, I'm about to have an influx of money and I'm bad with influxes of money because if I have a bunch of money, it will soon be gone. But if you start separating, now the amount that you have is the amount that you will soon lose, spend, whatever, but you still have these other little buckets growing.
Yeah. So from an individual who is employed's perspective, that's like creating these buckets using your envelopes. I did that too. From a business owner's perspective, it sounds a lot like the profit first model, which is what I do in my business. Because what most business owners do, especially people who are just getting started, you take all your money and you put it in one account and you leave it there. And then you have expenses come and you're living out of that money, right? You're paying your personal bills out of that money. You're paying your business bills, your payroll, anything, your systems and everything. And then when you need that camera, you've overspent or you don't have the money, or when you have to pay taxes, you don't have the money. And so it's really important to have those accounts set up. I recommend the book. We're talking about Richest Man of Babylon. I also recommend Profit First for people who need to know how to distribute your money as an entrepreneur 100%. As well, because you'll have like a what you'll call a savings account or a profit account where you determine what that profit account is used for. So you may want to take your profits and allocate it to investments, right? And so you know that if you're taking 20% of the revenue that you bring in each month, I do it on the 1st and the 15th, but if you take 20% of what you're bringing in total and you just have it growing, whether you use it this month or not, you just have it growing in that account. When it's time to buy an investment property or that camera, or you want to do something nice for yourself, you know that this is how much money you clearly have available, not to play with, but to use at your disposal, like however you want to use it.
Let me tell you what happens more often than not, and I'm sure you'll be able to attest to this. Let's say the camera's $2,000, we need $1,000 for a lens. It's $3,000 over a year or so, or 6 months you've been saving, and you need this $3,000. You're gonna get to about $2,100, and you know what's gonna happen? Your tire's gonna blow out. or something that is extremely important where you just have to spend this money that you had in this capital jar.
Yeah.
You're going to have to spend it. What's interesting is if you didn't have this capital jar, you just figure it out. Or you'll go without the thing, or you'll get a friend to drive you to work or something like that because you're tired. Something is going to happen where you're going to have to dig into this account. Now we have to exercise discipline.
Now we have to exercise discipline, but also even more strategy. So I guess you're talking to the person who's not an entrepreneur yet.
For sure.
But I am hearing it as an entrepreneur and what you need to be doing as an entrepreneur. So to get started, you're an individual, you are employed. And I mean, when I tell you these envelopes help,
oh man,
these envelopes help. So get your envelopes, guys. Get your envelope and mark them for tithes. Mark them, right now it just might be savings, but determine what that savings is for. You might have an envelope for your fun, the thing, and that's a real thing, like how much you're able to spend, because you don't want to take your fun money out of your savings money, right? You want to have an envelope that says, this is how much I can spend this month on food and entertainment and all those things. Whatever those categories are in your envelope for bills and things like that. Then as David was saying, once you have that one envelope, that's your envelope that you're going to turn into capital. Now you're going to use that and you're going to turn it into something that will yield you more money, right? This is the money that you multiply. Now you're in business. So now as a business owner, we're following the profit first model. We're not dealing with envelopes. We're now dealing with bank accounts. They're still labeled the same way though. So as a business owner, what's your operating account? What's your tax account, your profit account, and the account in which you pay yourself to? That goes to your personal account. So for me, I have from my business account, I have a portion that goes into my personal account. But it can't stop there because I like to travel, I like to eat, I like to shop, I like to just give money. And so I have broken down my personal account now into almost like a profit first kind of personal account, making sure that I still have enough money to take care of my personal life, but also putting money aside in savings for personal investments, things that won't go in the business name. Like you got to break that part down too, so you really know. But also like for emergencies. So if a tire goes out, if a car has to go into the shop unexpectedly and there's a large bill that needs to be paid, it's not coming from that savings money that I collected from my business. It's coming strictly from my personal account because I pay myself payroll and I divvy that up now too.
I love it.
That is something that I just started this year though, because I noticed I pay myself in my personal account, period. But now divvying that money up is it makes it really, really clear to see where you're spending money very quickly and how quickly you're draining a certain portion of your money and what you're leveraging it too. And I just kind of had these accounts that I needed to make a decision on, like, do I close these accounts, blah, blah, blah. But it was the history with these accounts. I'm like, I don't want to lose that banking history. So I just said, I'll make it this. And then it just kind of like snapped to me, like, you need to apply the same kind of logic that you do with your business accounts to your personal accounts.
100%. So after we take that income and we allocate some to capital, we want to take that capital and deploy it into enterprise, meaning start a business. Before we invest in the thing that we're going to invest in through this journey, you should be investing in yourself for sure.
First.
Because somebody actually asked the question, okay, I've got money and I want to invest the money into something that's going to make me more money. And there was a lot of answers thrown around. Okay, you can invest in this, you can invest in that. But I think the first thing, and it's going to sound very cliche, you know what my answer is going to be?
Personal development.
Invest in yourself. Invest in your ability to invest. Than just investing in the investment. Because if you don't know anything about the investment, if you don't know how the process of like saving this money to get a camera, you should be investing at least time into like understanding how to get clients when you get this camera, or understanding how to be a good photographer even before you get it. Start hanging around, and you might have to take some of that capital and invest it in education, because that's going to be just as important as getting the thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I believe investing in your personal development is absolutely first. Absolutely first, because just having the money to invest in a business and actually investing it in a business doesn't guarantee a profit right then and there. First thing that you need to invest in is yourself, because putting this money in these buckets and saying, okay, now I have the capital to deploy, what's the word that you used? Into enterprise, meaning start a business. Businesses are not typically profitable in the beginning.
That's a fact.
And if your mindset doesn't match if your mindset isn't in check, it will make you quit faster than you need to quit, right? Oh, I lost money. I went and spent all this money on inventory and I didn't sell anything. But with the proper personal development, you'll know how to make certain tweaks. You'll know how to approach things differently and, make better decisions than you would if you don't. So it's really, really important. And I believe that the reason that most entrepreneurs fail is because you don't invest enough in your personal development.
100%. I think people put so much into the thing that they're holding and not their ability to hold it, or like you got to really put it's like buying $1,000 basketball. It's not going to yield you much, but if you really learn how to play basketball with any ball, you'll make way more money. You know what I mean? Like your ability to handle the thing, right? To start a business. So in this process of like you're saving this money for capital before you invest, you should really be investing in yourself and your ability to operate. So then you will have this enterprise, you'll have this business, you'll have it set up. You got an actual business, which yields all types of tax benefits and things of that nature. Now we have to make a profit.
Like how you view money. So I remember working at the Cheesecake Factory where you do a good job and then you make some money and it just goes with the rest of it. I just put it in my account. I'm like, oh, wow, I got $1,000 in my account. And I looked at money as a way to pay my bills. And the more I have, the more cool stuff that I can do, right? But I'd be interested in knowing how you all view money, especially Daniel.
Okay.
Is there a difference between what culture are you, first off?
Culture.
Yeah. What nationality?
I have a Romanian nationality and I have United States nationality.
So you're Romanian though?
I spent my first 18 years there, yes.
Okay, got you. What's the difference between, where do you see Americans, okay? How do you feel most Americans view money?
The question is very broad. So, first of all, when we say Americans, America is so diverse. We have people from everywhere. Some people travel internationally, some people don't. But when it comes to money, we only have one currency here, the United States dollar. And most people see it as a utility, just something that you transfer your effort in this little paper that you give to somebody else to pay rent with. And that's about it. But once you get to investing level, the little bill, if you park enough of them, will give you the ability not to have to work anymore. And that's the magic in it. So your question is a little bit too broad.
It is broad.
Because America is so complex and so organically evolving. But you have, go ahead.
Are you familiar with Black culture?
To some extent, depending what Black culture. My wife is Black, but she's Colombian.
Yeah.
So,
But do you ever see the differences in how people use their money between Black culture, white culture?
Absolutely.
What are some differences? Asian, like what are some differences that you see from an international standpoint or cultural standpoint?
You're strictly talking about Black people from different places?
Yeah, give me that.
Okay.
Or just different cultures, period. Urban culture. Urban. So I'm going to qualify the question. The reason I'm trying to get
Sure.
So I went to this mastermind and I need to tuck my joint. I went to the mastermind, right? And it was all like wealthy people, and it was probably 250 people in the room.
all of them white. There's like 2 or 3 people, black people in this room. And nobody had a chain on. Nobody had diamonds in their watch or nothing like that. So I actually tucked my chain. Like I was around, I was like, man, I just got wearing this wealth. You know what I mean? I ain't see no Gucci bucket hats and I ain't see no Louis prints or nothing. I'm like, dang. Anywho, yeah. So I'm interested in how different cultures use their money. So from your perspective, how do black people use their money?
Vanity. Lots of vanity.
A lot of vanity.
From the red carpet to the club to making donation to have the first seat in the church but there's the black version, because white Americans do the same thing. You can have a big white house in Alpharetta, but work 3 jobs and never be at home. So it's the same thing. And it just, yeah.
Vanity.
Which is the most human thing, because we do it in different way. My personal life has been, when I first found out that I got a completely undeserved scholarship to study in the United States, my grandfather told me that, look, before you learn English, you have to learn the tax system. And once you get here, you have to remember 2 things. Money make money and people make money. And the quickest you can move from the second to the first, the better it is. Now, some of you have won the genetic lottery and maybe have been raised by family that taught you about investing, taught you about saving, taught you about having that pile of cash that it's always there for a few months ahead. I had to learn through experience. I came in America with $200. I lost twice everything. But at one point or another, I realized, I have 10 years with my business. I'm making a lot of money. But if I stop, the money stopped coming. And that's the moment the light came on. I started reading about value investing, a lot of Warren Buffett books. And little by little, I started putting absolutely everything I have with a big sense of urgency into things that make me money. And it is only now that I actually realized that in a way or another, I got there. Last year, COVID, I got hit like a lot of people. And I had 8 months with foggy brain. I literally had 1 year, complete year that I took off. And the choice that I made a few years ago about investing made it possible that last year I didn't lose my home. And that today I can start over because, well, he's paying me interest. And a few other people the same way. And so I hope that in some way answers your question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Kenneth, how do you view money as a whole?
To me, because this is all I do every day, money is a tool. It's all it is. Now, humans, we place emotions toward this tool. And sometimes those emotions can lead us to do amazing things. Sometimes those emotions can lead us to do not so smart things. But ultimately, it is a tool. So I have a unique position because I get to see the real deal. When people are on Instagram and flashing and seeing all the driving the nice, beautiful cars and all the beautiful pieces of jewelry and things of that sort. No, I'm not. No, I'm saying
the second round. I'm taking this off.
I'm not saying it to you. But when they come to someone like us, like me, and we have to see everything. We've got to see bank statements and credit reports and in some cases tax returns. So we will see your entire essentially financial balance sheet. We know what it's going to look like. So you can't necessarily quote unquote front on us because we have to see it. Some folks will essentially use that cash to do things that I just necessarily don't understand, but it is what it is. But it is a tool. And we let Shinsi share with our investors, hey, look, at the end of the day, everyone has an opportunity to use this tool to create more wealth for yourself. Ultimately, investing is a function of taking measured steps, calculated steps, getting advice from people who've actually done it before and just going out to the market and really doing it. And so we want to make sure that people truly understand that. But it is a tool. And I learned that a long time ago. Take the emotion out of it. Look at what this investment is going to generate for you and your family. I invest in land, so I love land. It's not a sexy product. It's not something a lot of people talk about. It's not something people really have an interest in. But to me, it's something that I just love doing. And the reason for that, because I do exactly what Daniel does, seller financing land. And noticing that just having these pieces of land allows you to really be able to kind of take off time whenever you need it to. But it truly is just a tool. Take the emotion out of it. Understand that there is good and bad things that can come out of this using this tool. And if you can do that, you'll do well. And if you just keep doing it. And it's also, you just got to keep doing it. It's consistency. Just like I think you said earlier, one of my favorite shows is Shark Tank. Mr. Wonderful says, hey, look, money is like some little shoulders. We want to put those shoulders out every day, and we want more shoulders to come back in. It's very similar. There's no difference to that.
I like that. Huh?
I want to stir the pot a little bit.
Stir the pot. Good.
All
Tell me real quick, can admit that for a good portion of your life, you had a backwards view of money. I know for a long time, if you get, let's say like your taxes come back, you get a windfall of money. We look at it like all of the things that I can buy. It's funny, but right? Like we get the money, we're like, do need a new car. And then your car ain't good enough. You know what I mean? Like you get it like, oh my gosh, I need a new car. I just need one. Now that you got money. 2 weeks ago, you were just driving that joint with the water in the back seat. So you go ahead.
So I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit. I hate money.
Money.
Yeah, I do. So, it's because it's debt. So debt for poor people is destruction. Debt for wealthy people is the blueprint, right? So it's 3 phases, right? Earn it, grow it, protect it, right? So let's just hypothetically talk about Jeff Bezos, right? So the whole goal is if I got equity in a company or if I got stock. So if I take the money, no matter how much money I make, I'm getting rid of 98% of it, like ASAP. I got to get it away from me because I got to put it somewhere that's going to grow. If it's sitting in my account and the attorney general get pissed off at me or something, they snatching it. But if I got it somewhere in private equity funds that's dancing around for me, I can always have enough credit. So let's say Jeff Bezos has 16% equity in Amazon. So his net worth will be billions. So if he goes to try to pull $5 billion, they're going to hit him for half of it. Why wouldn't he take and get a loan against the equity for $5 billion? Right? So now that loan, you're getting all of that. And then you're getting to write off the interest. And you didn't have to pull the money to get half of it taken. So now what the wealthy do is they take the money, make it dance, then they protect it, then get loans against the protection. And then they write off the interest of those loans so they never lose half their money.
This is why I'm glad we're having this conversation because like you got to see money in a different way. It's like a complex formula, kind of. It fits. I'd be interested in knowing how you look at money. If you got somebody paid you $10,000 for something.
So, of course, I'm a crypto guy. So when I think about money, like you said, when you first get introduced to money, you don't really understand it. And I think a lot of people confuse money and currency, and they're 2 different things.
Right.
So money, on a fundamental level, money is a store of value, unit of exchange. It needs to be fungible, right? It needs to be easily transferable, right? Those are the qualities of money. So anything that you have that fits within those fundamental qualities is technically money. Currency is a representation of money that is typically fiat currency from a government or something like that to help you easily get around, right? So when we think about money, gold was the most recent form of money. It was difficult to move around with money. So ultimately, banks came and said, hey, we'll hold that gold for you. We'll hold that money, right? And we'll give you these notes so that you can easily transact in the market. And that's where the currency came from. Right? But the money was the gold, right? So when I look at money, when I think of money, I think of it from a fundamental standpoint. So when we think of, it's always funny to me when people are like, oh yeah, I sold my Bitcoin, right? When they're like, oh yeah, when do I sell it, right? Bitcoin is real money is an asset, right? Why would you sell an asset? Like Derek said, the wealthy don't sell assets, we borrow against it. That Lamborghini outside, I borrowed against Bitcoin.
What do you mean?
I put Bitcoin up in the same way, these guys borrow against these private equity funds. I borrowed against my stash of Bitcoin.
How did you do that though? So I got a little bit of Bitcoin. It's like got a whole coin. You know what I mean? But
I'll explain. So let's say you have a piece of property. Let's say you have real estate. Let's say your property is paid off. It's worth $500,000, right? You now have equity. If you wanted to pull some of that equity out, you would go to a bank or a lender and say, hey, I'll give you this note or a piece of paper that serves as collateral, and I want you to give me some liquid cash. It's still my building, right? For now, as long as I pay you that interest. But now I got this building and I got this liquid capital that I can go and purchase more assets with. So instead of selling Bitcoin, instead of selling Ethereum, you borrow against it. So money to me is transforming literally every day, because I've never seen a form of money that you can borrow against, go and earn, and then use that receipt that you're using to earn to go earn more. Wow. So one form of money can be used 3 or 4 different times to go out and work for you. So you're maximizing that potential of smart money.
That's okay. I got it. Okay, so on the Lamborghini, right? You got Bitcoin. Who gave you the money? Who gave you the greenbacks? Because I don't know if it's money or currency. Currency. Who gave it? How did you buy it without selling your Bitcoin? Who gave you that?
So there's a few different companies. There's traditional companies like BlockFi will do it. That's who I used. But you can do it in a decentralized way as well. But even the traditional side, once you over collateralize a loan, it's very easy to make that loan happen, right? Because
explain over collateralize, because I'm trying to help Joe. You don't really.
So over collateralize, meaning if I want to borrow $50,000, I need to have $75,000 or worth of value that I'm giving you, or $100,000 worth of value, right? Because if you're going to hold that collateral that's worth 75 or 100,000, if I default on that 50,000, guess what you got? 75,000 or $100,000 worth of value, whatever that is.
Right. What you be doing?
Mm-hmm. So exactly. Cool, but and just like what he's doing, once again, like I said earlier, it's very difficult for the lower class to make that plight to become wealthy when you got to jump through all these hurdles to find real estate deals, to find business deals, versus you can go on Cash App and buy Bitcoin, and now you have the top performing asset for the past 10 years.
I like that. Okay, y'all got it? Are we wheels turning? Good. Okay, Siri, money.
To me, money is a gift and money is ministry. You know?
A gift and ministry.
Mm-hmm. Money is a gift and money is ministry. So I believe that everything that I have comes from God. It's a gift. And then it has to go out. Like it has to be actually moving, to your point of like 98%. No. Like to me, first of all, I have to be a good steward of it. If 70% of what I have gotten is not actually like in my accounts or moving for me, then I did something wrong. If I just spent it on something frivolous that actually isn't building up anything for me, then something's wrong. Like I looked at my accounts recently and I was like, I've made this much over the last 3 years and the accounts only have this much. What happened to the rest? So it's a gift that we need to steward well. And then I think of, I'm a Bible girl, but in the word, it says that Jesus was doing ministry and there were some women with him and they were funding the ministry out of their resources. So I feel like as we get this money, it's now our job to actually use it to build ministry and build people, build the word of God, get it extended to other places. And we're just called to be good stewards of it.